Well, boys and girls, back at it again with part, seems like 9,000 of this clutch job. Nice Saturday morning. We're going to get rolling early. Got a brand new flywheel we're going to be putting in. This was from a company called ATP. I don't know if you can see that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, brand new, rock auto, under 50 bucks. Can't argue. Not going to fool with the old one, just put it in. We're going to get under the truck again, so bear with me. Well, that's exactly as we left it. The gremlins haven't been under here doing extra work for me, unfortunately. And there we go. Oil seals in. Stiffen the plates in. Did a quick check around. No leaks yet. I'm sure it's going to be just fine. So, get the flywheel put on. It just fits over this back part of the crankshaft here. 6 bolts go in. And I'm going to use a little Loctite blue thread locker on the threads, just a drop. Make sure everything stays put together. There we go. It just slides over that piece, and once you get it on, just turn a little bit and get your holes lined up. I'll get one of my bolts and do a test fit on it first, make sure everything's there, and then we'll get it bolted down. And by the way, these are 17mm bolts, and the torque spec on it's supposed to be 68 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and run them in first and then torque them, because I can. Whew. Let's see if we can see what's going on here. Yes, indeed. Noise alert. So it's on a cross pattern. Just keep them nice and even. That sure does make it better. Okay, torque wrench. All the way up to 0, 10, 20, 30. Yeah, let's do 30 first, see what happens. I like to do it in stages. Okay, now is where it's going to get tricky. The other way. Good. Actually, it's going to take longer than you guys have patience for, so stand by. I'll be back. Okay, so flywheel's in. Bolts are torqued down to 68 foot-pounds. Now, you want to clean this. This band here is where your clutch disc rides, and you want this nice and clean. Make sure there's no grease. Sometimes when these new parts get shipped, they've got a coating on here to prevent them from rusting. You've got to get rid of that. So, take a little brake cleaner, spray that down, wipe it down with a clean rag or paper towel. Nice and clean. See, look at that. Look at that. In fact, I'm going to hit it again. Okay, now you've got your clutch disc. You see the springs on it? Springs on it. See how one side sticks up? On one side, I call it the hat. The hat side goes out. There's going to be something on here. If you look, they'll either say flywheel side, transmission side. It'll tell you something. They're usually marked. I don't see it on this one, but that's okay. That's why we do our research. But this hat side goes out. And this is a clutch alignment tool. This black piece in the middle. See, it's got a little stem there that goes into the pilot bearing. It's got splines on it that spline up with the splines in the clutch disc. And there we go, back in. And then we just stick it up here. Just like that. This is supposed to spin. Make sure it pulls all the way in. Now, as you can see, you can move this up and down a little bit. You may or may not need that, because next we get the pressure plate, and the pressure plate goes over this. But first, I just look around here. This little ridge on the flywheel looks like it's all nice and even, so it shouldn't be a problem. So, pressure plate's coming next. Okay, and there's your pressure plate that goes over it. These little spring fingers go out. If you turn this around the backside, I can't do it because it's too discombobulated, uncoordinated under here, and I don't have the room or the strength. But there's a shiny plate that almost looks just like this ring on the flywheel. It'll go on there. And there's holes on the outside. And those holes are going to match up with your locating pins on the flywheel. There's 3 of them. So let's try putting that in. Where's the other one? And that's not going to want to go. In you go. And that goes on there. And that goes on there. And that goes on there. All right. There's several sets of holes on here because it fits a few different transmissions. They're similar to each other. But you just got to keep going till you find it. Now, if I can remember where the bolt holes are, if the bolt holes line up. And I can't see a darn thing. So, stand by, folks. I'll find it. And there we go. That was a bit of a struggle. What? Well, why? Just put 3 holes over 3 locating pins, right? No, that's not so fast. Whew. Wow. For some reason, this pressure plate had these holes different sizes. It fits fine here, but not in this one. And if I put the pin in this hole, I wouldn't be able to put the bolt in. So we had to get a step drill, drill out these holes a little bit so that pin could get through. It was not going through. I even tried tapping the flange with a hammer and it wasn't going to go. It was one size short. Amazing. Just never can tell with parts when you order them. And this is a Luke set, man. This comes from Germany. Unbelievable. Maybe the 22R's got a smaller pin. I don't know. But we got it set. We got it sorted. We got it fit. We got it set up. Now I'm going to get my bolts in. 14mm bolts. 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. cookie time. And you put those in gradually, just a little bit of time, again, crisscross pattern, until you eventually get it down to 14 foot-pounds. You'll know when you get there. So, time for me to get to it. And there we go. Installed, torqued down to spec. 14, 15 foot-pounds. Seems like it's on pretty good. Trying to figure out what the hell I gotta do next. Wow, I wrote a list. Let's go back and check the list. I'll get back to you. Okay. Next thing, let's get the throwout bearing onto the carrier. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up before. And here's one of these times I gotta show you. This clutch kit came with two different throwout bearings. As you can see, the thickness is different. If you use the wrong one, you could get messed up. So this is the time you compare your old part to your new part. And we have a winner. It's the thin one, not the thick one. The thick one's probably for the 22R, I'm guessing. Get this open. Okay. And if you look at this, you'll see it's got an inner race. Oh boy, that's nice and smooth. It's got a flat back, and it's got a crowned side, just like the old one. The crowned side goes out like this. That slides onto this. It's got to be pressed a little bit, which is not a big deal if you got a vise. Otherwise, you lay this down, stick this on here flat, get your piece of wood, tap it on down into place. That's the important part. That crown side's got to go out. So, get a fresh rag. Started on there like that. Ugh. We're gonna rag down in the vise so we don't mar it up. Just give her a little squeeze. Go. Just like that. That's beautiful. Next thing, get this installed on the fork and onto the transmission. Okie doke, so this is going to be interesting. Grease. Grease up the pivot ball. So the fork can pivot on it. Grease up this collar. So the throwout bearing can slide on it. Don't need a bunch. Just enough to make it slippery. You're also going to want to grease these splines in this nose piece a little bit, but I'm going to hold off on that. For the moment. Get a better position here. Okay. Now, I think maybe I can put that together first. Okay. Grease the little ears on the fork with a bearing carrier. Comes into contact with it. We'll dab on the back side. And for the fun of it, we'll put a little on the inside. This is a sealed bearing, so you don't need to grease it. And any grease that gets to it won't hurt it. You just don't want to go too crazy with this inside of here, because you don't want any grease getting on your clutch disc, which will be riding right here. Okay. Now, carrier goes on the fork, and you've got these little retainer clips, which is a little confusing to put on, I will admit. Let's get you further down here. Let's see what I'm doing. Now, let's see. Oops, forgot something. See a little ball back there? A little socket? That needs grease too. If I can get it in there. There we go. Just had to get a screwdriver and lay a little bit in there. Okay, so let's see now. This end has the 6 sides on it for the nut to go in here. The socket goes to the back, of course, towards the pivot, so it's going to be like this. It's going to pivot like that. Grease off the ground. Oh man, my position just ain't the greatest in the world. So here we go. See those holes through there? That's where the clips go. And there's holes through those ears. There's no hole in the back though. So I'm assuming that's going to go like that. And these clips are going to go down through and then hook in that hole with that little hook. Sorry I can't show you. There's one in, and there's another. There we go. Looks like that. Now, fork through the hole over here. And get this over that. And then slide it back this way. And then try to get that pivot into the socket like that. Beautiful. That feels nice. And get a little more grease behind that. Just for insurance. Oh, sorry about my foot being away. There we go. Beautiful. Red grease is a beautiful thing, guys. I'll get you back up on the box so you can see a little bit better. That's nice. Now also, I didn't have one before, but I decided to go ahead and splurge a little bit here. We got ourselves a brand new shift fork boot. OEM from Toyota. Cost about $20, believe it or not, for a piece of rubber. But hey, it's going to seal up this square hole over here. Right there. And keep the moisture out, rain out, dirt out, make the clutch live a little bit longer. And guess what, folks? Somebody lied to me again. This is not going to fit. It's just too big. It's supposed to go like that. That flange is way too big. It's a rectangular hole. The bottom is square. So, I don't see how that's going to work at all. Unless I somehow shoved it in there sideways, I don't freaking know. It's always something, isn't it? Gosh almighty. I don't know. Maybe I could try putting it that way and having that out. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this. Not for the right transmission. I spent half an hour researching this. Sometimes it shows, hey, sometimes your research isn't worth a crap. Especially on these older vehicles, it's hard. I hate to keep harping on it, but man, it is hard to find information on the pre-79 trucks. It's just really, really hard. You want really specific stuff, hard to find. So, I'll play with this a little bit more and make a decision. Well, yeah, it's just not going to work. Gonna have to go without the boot because it's not going to fit. I'm not going to cut it up. I'll just put it back on eBay and sell it. And hey, I never had a boot on this thing anyway. The 20 years I've had it, there wasn't any rust problem inside. So, oh well. I'll look around a little bit later after I get this job done and see if I can find one. It's not going to be very hard to put one on there once I do find one. But there you go. Next, I actually get to try to put this transmission back in the truck. Woohoo! Stand by. And crap. In keeping with my policy of keeping this 100% real all the time, no matter what I'm videoing or doing, we have yet more fail. 8 hours trying to do this. 7 different times. I cannot get this transmission to go back in. It just won't do it. I've double checked everything. I've double checked the parts. The parts are correct for the application. I followed the procedures down to the letter. I've tried everything I can think of. What the holdup is, I don't think you can see it. No, you won't see it. Is there's 2 locator pins on the back of the block that go into holes in the bell housing. they're not locating. They're not locating the holes and going in. I can't see the one down here on the left side. It's down there, the pipe bracket. There's one up top. Maybe I can show you that. Hang on. Oh man. It's getting up and down all the time. It's tough on an old man, I tell you. Oof. Tool City. Let's get this open. There's my flashlight. There we go. There's that booger right down there. I'll see if I can't zoom this in. See that little knob sticking out right above the gear? It's a locator pin. There's the flywheel and the clutch pack. Let's go around this side. Yeah, I can't quite see it on this side. I know it's there because I have problems getting it off. But that's the booger that's holding me up, at least. That one up top. Because I decided to pop up here and have a look and see what was going on. And there's that pin, and I can see the hole just below it. I tried getting the second jack up the bell housing a little bit to try to get it to find it. I must have tried 25 times. It wouldn't find it. What kind of a locator pin are you if you can't locate a hole? Jeez. Gotta be fired. But anywho, that's that for now. Because I can't take any more. Just too much. And get my tools cleaned up, get done, and of course 10 minutes ago it started raining. Really ugly. Just lovely. There you go, maybe you can see that a little bit better. This was booming about 5 minutes ago. Sorry I didn't catch any of that for you. But there we go. 8 hours, no dice. I could get it within, half an inch, but it just wouldn't go any further. Just the length of that pin. But I know what I'm up for the day, so that's it. I'm going to stop. Oop. There we go. Bring it back out. Sorry, nothing more exciting to show you. Hey, flywheel went okay. Clutch pack went okay. No problems there. It was fairly straight. Nosy. But try getting that up in there and just, it's not going. Yeah, it's not going to work. Saturday. I can understand if it's Sunday, you want the day off, but geez, come on, guys. It's really transmissions. Anyway, when I get back on it, I'll haul the camera out again and maybe show you some more fail. What the hell? Maybe we can get set a new record for consecutive fail on the same job. Who knows? Trying to take it in stride, but it's awful tough. Anyway, sorry it wasn't more. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.